All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to talk about IGN, or at this point, what was formerly IGN. We got a journalist here by the name of Destin, who we have done videos on in the past, and he was one of the few journalists left over at IGN that wasn't necessarily political, ideological psychopath, right? He was one of those people that was as close to neutral as you could possibly get within relative means in the gaming industry. But apparently, IGN is imploding from within because not only did they lose over 10 journalists before with Cap Bailey and a multitude of other journalists that left them prior, but now, after 13 years, Destin has decided to leave IGN to pursue his own thing. And I don't think you guys realize just how big of a hit this actually is to IGN overall as a company. Now, again, ladies and gentlemen, I want to make it very clear, as much as I enjoy most of Destin's content, I still don't trust him fully because he is still a mainstream journalist and they have a reputation for a reason. That's like saying you trust other people, other companies, other whatever, who are not necessarily your friends just because they're saying the right thing at the right time. But Destin is leaving IGN, and this is, in fact, a huge blow to IGN. And I want to hear him out and understand why he is leaving, because apparently he is doing his own thing, whatever that may be. And I'm very curious how he's going to go about advertising himself. So let's get into this video, guys. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. Let's hit it.
After 13 years at IGN, I quit my dream job. IGN was an unforgettable experience I will always cherish. I got to see the world, make friends, and build a body of work I'm proud of. With nearly 1 billion views generated for the IGN brand, though, it's time to bet on myself. Starting today, I'm building...
Really quick, I just want to say something really fast before he gets into what he's about to do. Don't you guys notice a pattern? How all of these mainstream journalists that were part of the cog, they were like part of the system, they were a cog in the machine, they're all now leaving to start their own things. Don't you guys find that to be very curious, right? Especially after the massive success of Gamergate 2.0 and the amount of failures that happened in the gaming industry, and how all these journalists were spending over like a year complaining about YouTubers, and now they're all trying to become one. Isn't that very interesting? Now, Destin has always had his own platform. He doesn't have a small platform. He has over 120,000 subscribers, so good on him. He's probably one of the more successful people that I've seen on YouTube who also is a mainstream journalist, because all the other ones are pretty much failures for the most part, and they're all trying to become YouTubers now. But I just find it very interesting how they're all going from mainstream journalists to their own separate content creators just like that. And it all happened within the last year or two. They're all leaving. Even Cap Bailey left to go do her own podcast. It just makes you wonder, you know what I mean? Did we influence them? I don't know.
Building my own independent contribution to the video game industry, focused on meaningful conversations, asking tough questions, and doing my best to find and report the truth.
So this all sounds great and dandy, right? I mean, this is stuff that we've heard before, but every time we hear a journalist say that they're going to ask the tough questions, they never do. They never do. And I really hope that Destin actually does when he does his interviews, because he still has access. Even though he's leaving Access Media, he still has access, right? His first interview is going to be Phil Spencer. So I just hope that he actually does ask real tough questions and doesn't kowtow just to maintain whatever access that he has. But let's continue anyway.
When I started covering games in 2007, I promised myself I'd ask the important questions, explore overlooked angles, and shine a light on topics that needed attention. I also vowed to use any influence I gained to advocate for you, the player. That's what games media should do. Advocate and ask questions on your behalf. That's what I did at IGN, and it's what I'll keep doing. Yes, I will still tell terrible jokes from time to time, though. I'm sorry. Look, when Daniel Dwyer launched the amazing No Clip in 2016, he said gamers deserve media that reflects their passions. My thought is that
This really sounds like a Second Wind kind of a thing. You know what I mean? Where Second Wind is basically this like alt media style YouTube channel / journalists that were compiled from people that thought they could do better than the mainstream industry and sold themselves as for the gamers, right? But then ultimately became just like the mainstream industry and it got destroyed in the process because Nick Calandra an ideological psychopath. This is really what it sounds like. This sounds like the same exact thing, and I wonder if it's going to end up as the same exact thing. I guess time will tell.
Gamers deserve media that represent them. And my goal is to help bring us closer to making that a reality. So here's my pitch. I'm starting a Patreon. If you enjoyed my interviews, coverage, and commentary, this is your chance to get even more. Early access to content, behind the scenes.
So, okay, here's my issue with this, man. And this is why so many of these mainstream journalists fail whenever they try to become content creators. What they do is they focus on building the monetary side of it first, and then they build the content second. It's never been a thing for me to do that. Like, I have never paywalled anything except for one time where I was experimenting paywalling my live streams, not because I wanted extra money, but because I thought it was better for the algorithm for it to be not listed as a public video and ruin my actual videos algorithms. I thought the live streams, if they were to be locked away on essentially a private list, it would better my algorithm. Once I found out that wasn't the case, I just removed it because I didn't care. And they were always available free anyway on Rumble. But paywalling stuff, I just never been a fan of that. I feel like if you're going to build your platform, then build your fucking platform, right? And let your platform speak for itself. And if people want to support it monetarily, they will. If they don't want to support it monetarily, then they won't. But there's other ways for them to support that isn't monetary based anyway. They can like it, they can share it, they can comment it, they can help the video grow, they could give it a long view duration. They could do a whole bunch of things to help you, but they're not going to be able to do that if it's locked behind a paywall. You're essentially forcing them to make a decision of whether to pay you or not, and not be able to support you in any other way other than monetary. And again, I can't agree with that. And I know there's other YouTubers out there that do this, and it's fine, whatever. Just do whatever works for you. But every time I see someone focus on a Patreon first, I never see them succeed after that, because it's always about the Patreon and it's never about the content. And I just feel like, let the content speak for itself, and your platform will grow exponentially if you're offering it for free to everybody. You will make more money that way in the long run than you would focusing on the Patreon first. But I get it. He's part of the mainstream. He's used to having a consistent salary. He's used to working for a company. So he's trying to see what he can build off of the Patreon first, and then he will judge based off of that, right? Because he's basically trying to make his own salary at this point. But it's like, bro, if you just focus on doing YouTube and make it entertaining, the money will come. Right. And this is why I don't focus on the money. I focus on the content. I focus on making it entertaining, and I focus on making it as informational and as fun as humanly fucking possible. But again, this is all just different ideologies.
Insights
anyway,
and an opportunity to shape the discussions held by submitting questions for upcoming guests. With your help, I can do this independently while continuing to advocate for you. And I think of each video like a save state in a game. That's why I'm calling it Save State Plus. A captured moment we can reflect on to better inform where we are going. Speaking of what's ahead, Phil Spencer was one of the first to accept a one-on-one conversation to discuss his corner of the industry as the head of Xbox. We'll be chatting in the near future, and even if I get a no comment, you know I'm going to ask about the Xbox handheld, what their next-gen hardware looks like, and the tumultuous state of the industry, as well as other questions you want answered. The interview will be available first on Patreon and shortly after on YouTube. Phil Spencer has always been open in our chats, and I'm excited to speak with him again.
Yeah, when you paywall content like that, it just never ends well. But again, maybe I'm wrong, and I'm okay with being wrong. It's not for me. I guess that's what it is.
Beyond interviews, I want to build a brand that celebrates great games and tells their stories, while being honest when the mark is missed. I've visited studios, talked with creators, and analyzed games through objective testing and subjective commentary. Sometimes it's a celebration, sometimes it's a critique, but honesty matters, and access should never influence coverage.
That I agree with 100%, and I hope he sticks true to that. I really do, because that's what's destroying media right now. Not just games media, because there's other forms of media that is, for access. Hollywood is another thing too. But access media is destroying actual real journalism, and it fucking sucks. And I hope that he sticks true to what he's saying. I really do, because this is why YouTubers are on the rise. And it seems like these mainstream journalists have understood to at least a very small degree why YouTubers have become so successful over the last few years. And it's because we're not access media for the most part. There are some YouTubers that are, and you can see those shills from a mile away, and most of them don't have big platforms. And if they do, they don't really get the views like they used to anymore, because people have caught on to the grift. But overall, this is why a lot of YouTubers have grown. And I think they realize that. So now they're all trying to do their own thing and promising non-access media I feel like actions speak louder than words at this point.
That's what I hope to achieve with your support. I'll never let my critique be silenced by a brand, and I won't start now. Games coverage is shifting, how we talk about them, how news is reported, and how players respond. My hope is to build a more balanced, objective voice and have fun while doing it. I know it sounds crazy, almost as crazy as getting hundreds of games with Xbox Game Pass. Okay, last time I make that joke, I promise.
That sounded like a fucking ad reel. How are you gonna make that an ad reel? How are you gonna do that after talking about man? After talking about Access Media, you're gonna do a Game Pass ad reel and pass it off as a joke? That is top tier.
To give you a platform, my Patreon will include forms for submitting questions to guests. Patrons get priority, but I'll also have avenues on YouTube for submissions. I'll host monthly Q&As where you can call or write in to share perspectives, discuss topics, or debate with me directly. So to recap, my goals are: have more thoughtful conversations with the people building the games industry, share my personal opinions, and also previews and reviews, deliver objective insights through testing and analysis, combine these approaches to discuss news and create features about the games we love or don't. More importantly, provide a voice that asks the questions you want answered and seek the truth. This week, I have an interview scheduled with my friend, Kinda Funny co-founder Greg Miller.
Oh my God, fucking Greg Miller. No, you just threw out all the goodwill. Greg fucking Miller. That guy's an asshole. He's an absolute asshole. The guy believes in transing kids. Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good in that aspect. Fucking Greg Miller. Of course he's friends with Greg Miller, of all people. Listen, I'm not going to do the guilt by association. I'm still going to give Destin an opportunity to prove himself overall, but let it be known, arm's length is a thing, okay? Keeping him as arm's length is absolutely a thing, especially when he's friends with ideological psychos like Greg Miller. There's no doubt about it. So anyway, to cover it up on this video, this is a mainstream journalist figuring out that he can do everything that he's doing for another corporation himself. That's basically it. Whether or not he actually sticks to it is, I don't really know. It depends, because he's going to realize very quickly that if he really is going to be fully honest, if he's really going to be truly transparent, then most likely that's going to come with losing some access. And once he loses some access, is he going to be as important as he was with the access? I don't know. Time is going to tell. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.